Hey everybody, it's DJ Alex14, and I'm coming to you with an update that shouldn't have taken 4 months to make, but we got a lot to talk about. First thing I want to mention is that you may have noticed that I changed my channel name after 10 years, and I did that because I wanted to expand my horizon, which I've done already since I was a year into college. But, I still love making gaming content, although I want to throw in other stuff like vlog videos here and there, and maybe even some other stuff like shorts. I gotta wrap my head around how YouTube shorts work anyways. I'm here to follow up on that recap video I made just last week, but instead of doing the usual and talking in front of the camera and all, I've decided I'm going to talk off camera this time, and just show my happy place in the background. Yep, this is something I call my happy place. Those who know me know that Super Mario is very near and dear to me, and playing Mario games is my escape from stress. Well, one of them. Seriously, does anyone still play Super Mario Maker today? Or Super Mario Maker 2? Because this was one game I wish was still on the radar, because it really does feel like the kind of game to just rejuvenate Mario as a whole. But hey, I'm super excited because we live in a day and age where we have an actually good Mario movie, Super Mario RPG Remaster, Princess Peach game, Luigi's Mansion Dark Moon remake, and a brand new Super Mario Bros. Game that just released a few days ago. And heck, we've got a remake, a freaking remake, of one of my first ever RPGs and one of my favorites, Paper Mario: The Thousand Year Door. So the future's looking really bright for our favorite plumber hero. Us Mario fans are eating well this year, and Mario's more than rejuvenated, he's on top of the freaking world. Now, before I get into updating you guys on what's been going on, I was originally going to have Pikmin 4 going on in the background, being that it just came out before, and I wanted to do it on day one, but I had a lot of factors. But you know what? I've decided that could be its own video. I've already tried the demo of Pikmin 4, and I'm very much looking forward to playing the full game, but I want to share that experience with you guys. Okay, now that that's out of the way, where do I begin? Yes. Let's fill in the gap from the start of 2023 to the present. First off, I took a nice little vacation with my two best friends, Edgar and Maddie. Had a great weekend with them, and I hope to do that again soon. Then, right after, it was kind of weird, because I had to face another hardship, that being my family members having to move into my place, which made things kind of difficult. I had to endure the situation for about 4 to 5 months, and let me tell you, having to survive both this and a retail job at a grocery store that was making things hell for me? Okay, so about my job. It wasn't the job itself, but rather my boss. And I'm gonna get a little real with you guys. During my time working at that grocery store in Phoenix, my boss has verbally, emotionally, physically, just in every single way possible, abused, manipulated, gaslighted, all of it. All of that happened. And as usual, I will not expose their identity because I don't advocate that, as I've alluded to before. Yeah, I worked at a place where I just felt convinced that there was something wrong with me, that it was my issues that were causing complications, and that it was me making things look bad. And it was uncomfortable. That store I worked at, that grocery store, genuinely took a lot out of me. And it was around the end of March when it hit me. I was just like, I do not have any anger left in me. Just all the anger I had pent up from 10 months of living in survival mode. The rest of it had already been released. And the original plan was to take legal action against the place I worked at, as well as the apartments I lived in, because they were giving us problems too. But family circumstances ended up throwing that plan out the window, and it was a struggle, and deep down I really wanted to get out of that mess. So other than that, 2023 has been pretty good to me. Yeah, things have been weird, but despite all that, there was a lot of good that happened. And I did get to have my escape every now and then. I got out of the house a few times to go out with friends, much to the dismay of my nephew, who was dragged along. And that's one of the few positives from all that madness, is that I got to grow closer to my nephew, who was also staying with us. And After Valentine's Day, I started attending cons, pop-ups, meetups, all that stuff that I like to do and go to. I got to do it again, and it was like I never left. And I felt comfortable coming out of my shell again. I went to KikoriCon again, and this time there wasn't much snow, but I got to enjoy it for the whole weekend, unlike last year. And after that great weekend that I had, that great little vacation, I focused on finding a new place to move into, and I landed a good one in that regard. And heck, I even found myself getting hired right on the spot at this Asian market. And I'll get to how that went later. April was basically the last month of me being stuck in that situation. My last day of working in that grocery store went really well. I finished in the same place I started. I gave special stickers to my coworker friends, which I give all the credit to for making even the hardest of days all the more bearable. Zephram, Bella, shoutouts to you if you're watching this. I appreciate you guys a whole lot. The first day of May, my best friends took some time out of their day to help me move into my new apartment home. And I'm not gonna lie, that is the best thing anyone has ever done for me. Like, seriously, shoutouts to Maddie, she's the best. They helped me with boxes and furniture and my computer desk. And I spent the first week settling into my new apartment, and being that my birthday was that same week, I spent my birthday weekend at a convention known as Anime Arizona. Now that is an experience I cannot wait to share with you guys. I had so much fun that whole weekend, and I couldn't feel happier to have all these awesome friends with mine to make this even more special. And I even shared birthdays with another cosplayer, Corrupted Hero, which their friends kind of let me be part of their little birthday party. I attended my buddy Chris's dance panel. I met Monica Real, Zach Aguilar, Brian Drummond, Tara Sands, and I even took part in a funny little skit I did in my Ash cosplay. Played Smash Brothers and Mario Kart. It was great, and that will be its own video soon. I'll be honest, yeah, I was glad to have a happy birthday at last, but I wanted to do so much more than just that anime convention, and I didn't really get to do that. And, it didn't help that I was still kind of settling into my new apartment, didn't have much resources, and yeah, it was kind of a weird birthday weekend for me to spend it at an anime convention with very little resources. After the weekend was over, I started my new job at the International Marketplace. And the Asian market that I mentioned. So when I started, I didn't think it was going to be just as bad, if not worse, than the place I just left. 3 days in, I was disliking the job for a couple of reasons. So their way of training newcomers felt really off, and the grocery manager was especially a jerk. I felt really out of place there, and I couldn't even understand the people I worked with. And I remember, like, back when I was still working at the other grocery store, I got calls from them asking if I can come in, but I had to work. So, like, when they interview you, they want you to start right away, because I guess that's just how it works. But, like, it was just really hard to work with everybody, because, I mean, yeah, they all stemmed from foreign countries, which I'm fine with. I'm 100% fine with that. Working with them was just a lot harder than I anticipated, because either they didn't speak much English or they spoke in broken English. The job itself was, I want to say, harder than I expected. I worked on the stocking team, which seemed simple enough on paper, but there my objectives were often very unclear, and communication from my higher-ups was very, I want to say, lacking. The only valuable lessons I learned while working there was how to cut boxes and face things on shelves neatly and discard expired items. And it's too bad that everything else about the job just sucked. Even on my first day, I had a mishap. The box cutter I was using slipped, and I cut my hand pretty bad. It was bleeding like crazy. Luckily, I was able to make it to the bathroom and stop the bleeding and put a bandage around it. And see, it was embarrassing. It was embarrassing as hell. And I'll say, I think the only thing that I enjoyed about working at that Asian market was the music that they played. Oh man, they played some banger tunes. It's kind of like when you play an infamously bad video game, like Sonic 06, Mega Man X6. Those games are infamous for being just super unpolished and just not really good to play, but they have really, really good music. As the days went on, to my displeasure, the job didn't get any better. And it sucks because they expected so much out of me just because I had experience working at a grocery store, except I was a damn cashier, not a stalker. Instead of feeling relieved that I was in a new place and a new job, I'm just feeling the exact same complications as before, the same and even worse this time, since I would come home feeling super drained when I worked at the other place. I mentioned I didn't have any anger left in me, so instead of feelings of frustration or feel like I wanted to scream and rage, I was just having these shutdowns. And these shutdowns have nothing to do with me being on the spectrum. It's something I've dealt with for years, but it just hit me really hard. And I felt that same depression I thought I escaped from creeping back in slowly. And that was not good, especially since I really felt relieved to have climbed out of a very toxic situation from months before. And they tried to get me cashier trained. And even that was complicated because they expected me to memorize every single damn produce code on the list. It was like going to school all over again, and I had to study it for days. And the procedures I had to get the hang of too, because they expected that to be perfect, and they even timed me. And I don't really do well under pressure. I mean, that's the thing. I mean, hey, I've played games like Pikmin, I've played games like Majora's Mask, and I know that has a constant ticking timer. I know this is real life, and real life, you don't get any second chances. And it was just the worst. Eventually, it got to the point where they just let me go. I guess it was kind of mutual, but at the same time, I was just I just wanted to get out, for the sake of my mental health. And unfortunately, it didn't stop there, as I was dealing with something that hit me really hard emotionally, and it brought out the worst in me. But you know what? I've decided I'm going to save that until the end of the video, because I don't want to get into that right now. So I'll get to that soon. So my next solution was to try to get rehired at the store I worked at, but at a different location. But things just couldn't stop there, could they? As I was still trying to get rehired and doing all the work, they were having problems with my information, so that plan was kind of backfiring. See, leaving the Asian market was kind of a risky decision because I wasn't going to be making any money for a while. And right after they let me go, I had even worse luck. I moved some stuff around in my room, and I noticed that the floor in my closet was all wet and soggy. Alright, I'm pretty sure a couple of you have heard this story already because I told it to you, but those who didn't, well, yeah, my closet floor was all wet and soggy, and as it turned out, there was a water leak going on, and it was all over my floor. And some of my prints and stickers that I had in bags and boxes that I had put in the closet were nearly ruined as a result. So it all amounted to me filing an emergency maintenance report, getting myself and Biscuit out of the house, and we had dehumidifiers set up. Just as they installed the dehumidifiers, the bathroom ceiling started leaking water. And it's a good thing that the maintenance guys were still here to see that, otherwise there would have been more problems. So yeah, as a result, I had to be moved into a model room while my current apartment was undergoing repairs. Yeah, no kidding. They had me moved into a model room. You know, the kind of room that people don't really stay in. They're just there to show you if you ever want to move into the place and kind of get an idea of what apartments are like. I had to stay in that model room until maintenance was complete at my current unit. And that was one hell of a week, let me tell you. I mean, the model room was all right. You know, I was provided with free cable and free radio. And, you know, it was not bad to stay in. It felt kind of good. The beds that I slept in weren't the most comfortable, but hey, they were good enough to, you know, get some sleep when I had to go to sleep. I wake up for the first time in that model room and I feel sick. More than likely from stress, but like I felt really sick to my stomach. I felt like crap. I didn't want to get out of bed. It was that bad. And I go on my phone because, I have a tendency to get on my phone when like I'm not feeling good and I don't want to get out of bed. And I come to realize that my phone had 0 bars. And it was having problems. I mean, the network was working just fine when I had moved in there, but I guess it was my phone for some reason. But for some reason I just couldn't use mobile data. I couldn't use the internet, and I pretty much had to go somewhere else that had Wi-Fi. And I had to literally take the bus to the nearest coffee shop and just use their Wi-Fi. And the very moment I log onto social media and try to reach out to some friends, as it turns out, the people that I usually hang out with were either at Anime Expo or gone on vacation. I came to this realization, okay, I'm sick, I'm without a job, I can't even go into my own apartment because it's undergoing maintenance, and my phone is having problems. I'm cooped up in a temporary home. After, I think 2 days of being in there, I'm just there I need something to do right now. I need something that'll help pass the time, otherwise I'm gonna go mad. So, I thought to myself, what games have I not played yet? Or what new games just came out? Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom. I heard Tears of the Kingdom was really good. I know it's been hyped to heck. It's a sequel to Breath of the Wild that we've been waiting for since 2019. It's been getting rave reviews. I want to try it out now. It seems like a really fun game. Even though I felt like that day, I took it upon myself to muster up every bit of strength that I could and go get my copy of Tears of the Kingdom that I got when it first released. So yeah, I do that. The very moment I get home and I set up my Nintendo Switch in my temporary room and my temporary home, the very moment I put the cartridge in my Switch, I get this pop-up that says, "Oh, a system update is required before you play this game, but you're not connected to the internet." And that was just a moment of, are you kidding me? I can't use my cellular data, so I just can't play a video game I just spent $60 on, not too long ago. I was just so sad, and I know I have the option to return it, but it was already a hellish nightmare going all the way over there. It was bad. It was a really hard time for me. Afterwards, I'm just like, well, that was a bust. And for the rest of the time I was in that temporary unit, I just resorted to watching TV and watching movies I haven't watched yet or just have not watched in forever. I actually tried watching Avatar 2: The Way of Water, zoned out 30 minutes in. I wasn't really enjoying the film as much as I thought. And then I found myself revisiting the Spider-Man Homecoming trilogy, which meant I actually got to see No Way Home. And I rewatched Sonic 2, and I even got to see A Beautiful Day in the Neighborhood, the one with Tom Hanks as Mr. Rogers. Really good movie, I will say. Really, really good. That was a really hard month of June. Even when July started, I was still living in the temporary unit, but I did get to do some stuff for 4th of July. I got to go to this park and watch fireworks from there. That explains my absence, so I was just I couldn't seem to catch a break, huh? And as far as jobs, well, midway through July, I was actually able to get hired at an amusement park. It was kind of like a mini golf / water park place. It was really fun. I actually enjoyed my time there, even if it was short-lived. It all amounted to me just working in the kitchen, dropping food in the fryer, dropping frozen food in the batter, and learning how to make pizzas, learning how to make ice creams, and running the bumper boats, go-karts, all that, laser tag. It was fun for the moment, but honestly, the hours were kind of wacky. And I feel really bad because, I just found out about that place, and I found out what it was like when I first arrived there, when I was just exploring, looking for jobs. Some part of me wishes I would have stuck there for the whole summer without me having to deal with all this bullshit that I went through in May and June. It lasted about, I want to say, 3 weeks. Yeah, it was kind of bad. But on a happier note, I did hear back from my old job, but except it was a new store, and now I'm working at that same grocery store but at a different location, a much better location, and I'm being treated much better there. So, it felt really rewarding after having gone through all that crap. And I was even rewarded even bigger with my experience that I had at Game On Expo and SabotanCon. Those I'll have to share for later. So, yeah, things have been alright now. I mean, things have gotten much better. Well, although I can't say that 100% because now we get to something that has been affecting me mentally for the past few months. And it has been ever since I started working at that Asian market in May. It has nothing to do with the Asian market itself, because I already explained my experience there. This was something that, brought intrusive thoughts into me and just really, really ruined my mental health. Tragedy had struck on my family's behalf. More specifically, my father. Alright, because this is such a delicate subject, there will be no more gameplay for the remainder of this video. One night, I came home from work. I was still working at the Asian market. It was still my first week there. I was feeling relieved that I had made it through another day. And it was one of those nights where I felt motivated. I was ready to be productive. I was prepared to clean up my apartment, unbox more stuff, and look for better jobs the next day. And I even had a little late birthday get-together planned for me and my friends at my new place. And all that just went off the rails when I suddenly got this phone call from my mother. I remember just screaming into the phone, begging my mom to tell me it was a joke, when she told me that someone had brutally assaulted my dad and that he was hospitalized. I was angry. I was extremely angry. And I can tell you all the ways this has affected me and my mindset and my mental health. I can tell you that I did not handle the situation very well. After hearing the news, I'm just like, oh wow, is he okay? Is he all right? And when my mom told me he was hospitalized and that he was in critical condition, maybe not critical condition, but just really, really bad injuries, that's when it hit me. That's when I had this realization of, oh my God, I might possibly lose my dad. It's a possibility now. I may not be able to see my father again. And I just remember having a psychological breakdown, not even a few minutes after getting off the phone with my mom. I couldn't speak. I couldn't move, and not even Biscuit was there with me to help me cope. Biscuit was still at the other place. So I had to literally cancel everything. And my mom and I went to see Dad at the hospital the next day, and thank God he's still alive and still with us. Okay, so what happened was, when he had left a convenience store, he was unaware that this asshat was following after him like a goddamn predator. He was assaulted, he was robbed, and as a result, he had to get surgery for his broken jaw. Fortunately, there were no weapons involved. There were witnesses on the scene, and the bad guy left a trail. And the silver lining being that the son of a bitch was arrested. My family and I have been keeping in touch with a detective and a prosecutor to keep us updated on the case. And we even watched the court video, and while I'm not going to reveal any additional details of the criminal trial, I'll say that this douchebag off the streets showed next to no remorse, as he actually tried to weasel his way out with an excuse. That's what stings so bad. It pains me so much It's not that I almost lost my own father, but it pains me even more that there are monsters in this world who take pride in causing great pain to others. It never occurs to these unscrupulous, immoral scumbags that the people they hurt or killed, they have children, they have families, they have friends, they have a purpose. It sucks because sorry, I'm sorry, I'm getting a little worked up. I'm gonna take a moment to calm down. All right, I'm a little better now. So, I know that I said after I posted that recap that I would continue regular posting. Well, it ended abruptly due to that factor. You know, some people were wondering, you know, why have I stopped posting all of a sudden when I said, like, I would continue after the recap? You know, is it mental health? Is it, like, relationships? I was worried about my dad. You know, and how am I supposed to be an effective content creator when I couldn't stop crying? I couldn't stop feeling emotional. Like, I'm not kidding, guys. It took a really big blow to my mental health. After a little bit of discussions with, you know, a little bit of counseling and a little bit of talks with my family here and there, and that's when it hit me that, you know, I should just keep going. I can't continue to wallow in sadness because that's not going to help anything. I have to continue doing what makes me happy, and I gotta step up more. I have to, you know, I have to do everything I can to make sure that I'm living my best life and that I'm ready to take care of myself. I'm ready to take on the world, you know, follow my dreams. Whatever happens, happens. And there's really not much I can do about it. I feel a little better now that I was able to let it all out to you guys. As I said, and I know I've said this a lot, I do have a lot of content planned. I just have to work through it as much as I can. This is something I'm doing in correlation with my work schedule. I know that I have vlogs to catch up on, and I have new ideas I want to experiment, and I'll tell you what. My next video will be me basically getting a little bit of therapy by playing my 2 new games that I got recently, those being Super Mario Bros. Wonder and Sonic Superstars. And yeah, that's something that'll make me happy. That'll be something I'd love to share with you guys, because those are 2 franchises that are very near and dear to me. And the fact that we had those 2 games released in the same week is even better. So yeah, stay tuned for that, guys. And thanks for listening. I'll see you guys in the next video. Later, guys. Once again, thanks for listening.